Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We are in the Psychology of Eating podcast. I'm with Adrienne today. Welcome, Adrienne.
Thanks for having me.
Glad we're here. Glad we're doing this. So the idea is this is our first time that we get to meet and see if we can move you forward and get you where you want to go. So if you could wave your magic wand, have whatever you wanted with food and body, what would that be for you?
For me, it would be kind of centered around freedom. A lot of like my challenges from childhood that have kind of affected my whole life have been kind of centered around limiting. So I have chronic pain, which limits my ability to get outside and, things like that. So around food and body, it would just be like a sense of freedom, to be able to be in my body in a way that allows me to participate in life and activities and the things that I want to do. At this point, partially due to pain, but also just due to size and weight, there are just things that I'm limited. Like I go on vacation with my family and I have some teenagers left. They're between the ages of 14 and 21 right now. And so they like to do fun activities that are really active. So zip lining or going to a carnival and riding a roller coaster. And even just like being comfortable in an airplane to get there is really hard for me. And like my car needs to be replaced and has needed to be replaced for several years. And it's like not getting any better. But I go and I look at cars and I just don't feel like I fit in any of them. So just like my size is a limitation. Mm-hmm. So just like that freedom to be able to participate in life without this limitation or these limitations.
So the limitations being weight and pain, is that correct?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, like I've been on like a healing journey with my body and food, since I was conscious of it, which is a long, long time. But I've been really focused on it for the last 3 years. And so I've made a lot of progress in terms of body acceptance. And I wouldn't say that I've gone past acceptance. Like I definitely don't have like a real sense of like love and joy necessarily in my body, like for my body. But it doesn't stop me from doing things. It might come into my head like, oh gosh, well, I don't have anything to wear, or what will people think of me, or, that kind of thing. But I'm pretty good at kind of just swatting those thoughts away and going, what's important about this? What's important about this is seeing people I love, or what's important about this is spending time with people I love. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I've made a lot of progress in that way. One of the things that I've been working on really hard for the last 3 years is I really had food was definitely the enemy. I had a hatred for food. I wished that somebody would just like make a wafer and that was all you needed to eat in a day. And that was the only time I would have to think about putting something in my mouth. And so I've come a long way from there in terms of not seeing food as the enemy. But, in the last 3 years, not dieting, really not saying no to myself in terms of like, every time I would start to think, well, you can't say yes to everything. What right now I want to eat cookies, or right now I want to eat ice cream. And so at first it was like, I'm not saying no. Like, this is my practice right now, is just to not say no, because I've never not done that. Yeah. And then at some point it was, as I'm gaining weight, it's like, well, maybe I need to start saying no. But every time I would start to say no, I would just fall back into that mental trap of food is the enemy again, or like I was punishing myself. It would feel like a punishing act to not eat something. So it was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not dieting anymore. I'm not punishing myself with food. But how to get to that place where like I'm consistently making really healthy choices for myself, and not feel like I'm punishing, that's part of it. And then the other part of it is like, I think that my diet's okay. Like it's probably like, middle to high healthy wise. but like I don't have the activity to kind of balance enjoying things that are maybe like higher calorie or something like that. And that's largely to do with the pain.
Mhm. How much weight do you want to lose?
I don't want to have like a number. Haven't had a scale for a long time. But I've been thinking, because I knew you'd ask this question. The last time I felt really good in my body, like I was strong and I had energy. Granted it was like 10 years ago, so that was a 10 years younger person. But it was about 100 pounds, a little over 100 pounds less than I weigh right now.
Mhm. How old are you these days?
46.
46. So when would you say your kind of challenges with food began? Like what's your earliest memory of something's going on here?
Way back. Yeah. I mean, I would sneak sweets and things like that. I mean, it was always like a really shameful time when, my mom would lay down the hammer and be like, you have to clean this room, because there would be, containers and wrappers and, hard cookies behind the bed and stuff, because I was always trying to soothe with food from,
Mhm.
I mean, even age 4, I would say,
Mhm.
maybe before, but from that age on for sure.
Uh-huh. And how did your parents respond to that? Did they notice? Did they care?
They noticed. I mean, they cared. I don't remember, like my mom didn't, put me on a diet or anything, but she struggled with her weight. And so I just kind of watched her. I definitely have, like a maternal past history of lots of issues with food and body image. Everybody felt like they were overweight. We're always talking about who had lost weight or who looked good or who didn't look as good, that kind of thing.
Mhm. How
But my
long?
mom was also a cook, so she was home, so we almost always had cookies around, unless she was doing Weight Watchers, in which case then we didn't have cookies. But we had a lot of goodies around, and my mom definitely showed love through food.
Mhm. Are, are you working these days?
I am and I'm not. I'm in my clinicals for my graduate program in marriage and family therapy.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks.
So then at some point you're going to be just seeing clients, patients, etc.
Yep. Yeah, I'm seeing him now, but I'm under supervision.
Understood. Okay. And do you do that online? Do you do that in person?
Both.
Mhm. And how do you see your next 30 years unfolding? If you can just sort of have the life that you wanted, forget about food and body and health for a moment. So
Okay.
let's say those are all perfect.
Okay.
Uh, what would what's Adrian's kind of wish for this next chunk of your life, 20, 30 years?
Okay. I can see, having pretty steady life. My partner loves his work and doesn't plan on retiring soon or anything. We're not of that age anyway. So mostly living here and seeing clients, having a balance of, time to myself and time with my work. Um, I would love to get back into hiking and to be more active again. Having the freedom to kind of travel by myself a little bit, that would be great. I think that'd be like a big part of my adventure piece, would be just going to places and kind of discovering new places on my own. I'd love to do it with my partner too. His idea of adventure is different than mine, so
Mhm.
yeah, I think it would be more me, but also just kind of deepening the friendships that I have. Um, and I mean, my dream forever has been to be out of town. I've always wanted to have goats. That's been a decades long dream. um, just to live in closer to a wilder nature than living in town.
Mhm.
My, my son, he's young, he's 21, but we're talking about 30 years. So like, I would definitely love to have an active role in, any grandchildren that might come along. I'd love to be a part of that.
Mhm. So when did the issue with chronic pain start for you?
Um, I started losing one of the discs in my back and was having intense pain about, well, it first started when my son was born, so 21 years ago. And then it was kind of intermittent. It got really bad again after my daughter's birth. She's 14. And then about, I would say 8 or 9 years ago, I started collapsing. Just couldn't walk anymore. So I had to kind of, use sticks and stuff. And so, I mean, it's almost different. It's like, it was that chronic pain. It was intense pain, but it went over months, it was months like that. But so it seemed like basically after that, um, I mean, I had bouts with chronic pain. Even when I was a kid, I would have pains that would just go on for weeks. And my mom was always just like, oh, she's so sensitive. We never know what's going to be wrong with her next. So in some ways, it feels like it's been kind of with me a long time, but it's kind of taken over my world and my ability to be active and to live the life that I want to live. I would say for sure over the last 7 years.
Mhm. And is the pain confined to your back?
No, not at all. So it used to be, I would have just kind of random pains like in this joint or that joint. They used to think I had arthritis, but I actually don't have any of the markers and it doesn't show up on x-rays. So like right now, most of my pain is in my right shoulder, a spot near my left hip, and then there's a spot in the middle of my right thigh.
Mhm.
But I mean, I also have like things that, they can give me a diagnosis for, um, that hurt, but they're also like, I also have things where like I was told by a doctor a year or so ago that I'm a zebra, that it's like nothing that anybody knows how to name, or that's, someday they'll have a name for my problems.
Mhm.
But they don't now. So I know that the pain it's not necessarily related. Some doctors will say, well, it makes sense that you have pain, like you're missing all these discs and, you have shredded tendons. And then other doctors will say, like, there's a lot of people walking around with a body that's in just your shape or worse that don't have pain.
Mhm. Have you had any kind of holistic help or gone into the natural or functional medicine world for assessment?
Yep, I did do that. It kind of petered out with like food allergies.
Mhm.
Like I'm not supposed to have any citrus. The list was like as long as my arm, and I tried for about 3 months, and I was like, okay, so I can't ever have salsa again, and I can't have any fruit, and it was like, whatever. That didn't feel like the thing. I was committed to it long enough that it was like, if in 3 months I'm not feeling any better at all, it didn't feel like it was going down the right road, and it was just too expensive to afford. But what I've done more on like the holistic side of things in terms of pain is I did I'm blinking out on the name of it right now, but there's like a famous doctor who has a program. It's where you do journaling and stuff like that. So like I've done a lot of just inquiry into the pain, and also learned kind of how to manage my pain from that standpoint too. Like, oh, here's the pain coming up, thank you for trying to protect me right now. We're going to go ahead and do this thing anyway, or,
Mhm.
that kind of thing.
Was that the work of Dr. John Sarno by any chance?
Based on Dr. Sarno, yes.
Got it. Okay.
Another doctor that's in his same kind of thing. TMS, I think is what it's called.
Mhm. Yeah, not sure.
Yeah.
So back to weight. So you want to lose weight because you want to feel more free.
Yeah.
And when you described freedom, basically what I heard was freedom to be able to kind of play with some of the younger people in your world.
Yeah. Even my dog.
Yeah. So freedom to feel like you can play and not be limited by your body.
Yeah.
Freedom to feel like you can, sit in an airplane or a car and not feel like this is not comfortable.
Yep.
Okay. So what helps you lose weight?
I mean, I've lost weight various ways. It seems like the older I've gotten, the more resistant to weight loss my body is.
Mhm.
The last time I lost a chunk of weight was using intermittent fasting, and I was doing a 4-hour eating window. That was horrible. I eventually just got to like an 8-hour eating window, and that felt better. But there's always like this kind of sense inside that's like, I hate this.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because in order to have a lighter body,
Hmm.
which would then equal freedom, you
Hmm.
have to do all these things that feel like unfreedom.
Right. Definitely. Yes. And it doesn't for some reason feel like it's a choice to be healthier, to eat healthier, to choose healthier things. I don't know why that doesn't feel like a choice. That feels like a way of limiting me. Yeah.
Yeah. So the methods to downsize your body are limiting,
Hmm.
but you want the ultimate result of freedom.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's a conundrum. So if I was you, I feel a little stuck there. I would feel like this is an impossible kind of situation because I want to feel free. And in order to feel free, I have to place what seems like limitations on myself.
Hmm.
And I have to say no when I don't really feel like saying no.
Hmm.
And I have to do all these things that feel like they're controlling me, controlling my diet, and that's not so fun.
Yeah, not just fun, it feels punitive. It feels like it's too easy to get back into a place where everything I do is just kind of hurting myself. So I've
Mhm.
had to do so much work. I mean, I haven't had to. I've been lucky actually to be able to do the work and to be able to be where I'm at right now, not
Yeah,
having to punish myself in all these ways.
yeah. So I'm seeing a couple of different things going on here, and I'll name them and see if any of this is useful for you.
Okay.
So feeling like this is punitive, i.e., I'm being punished if I do these behaviors, even
Mhm.
though nobody's making you do them.
Right.
Right? Nobody's making you do them. Nobody's saying the food police are not coming to your door and
Right.
saying you got to do this. You're the one that would make the choice, and you're the one that at some point this feels punitive. So when we feel like we're being punished,
Mhm.
generally speaking, that's the child's mind within us.
Yeah.
You are restricting me. I'm being restricted, which means I'm being punished. I'm a bad girl.
Yeah.
If I wasn't being punished, I'd feel much better about myself,
Mhm.
and all this stuff would be easier. So there's a very, I think, active little girl in you that has a strong radar for punishment.
Mhm.
Anything that looks, smells, acts, or tastes like punishment, you
Mhm.
ain't going to do it. You
Well,
might do it temporarily.
right, yeah. And not now. So like the punishment that had received as a kid, I took that on and I punished myself for all the years. Like with anything. I mean, I was always striving and basically just whipping myself into, not sleeping to get something done or accomplished. And my partner and my kids called me out on that some years back. We're like, we can't pick up the pieces anymore when you fall apart. So like my pattern was push, 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 punish, 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 like in a punishing way, until I collapsed and had to be rescued. And so like that process of now being like, okay, like I am my own moderator. I can be the one that puts the brakes on right now, to be able to not only serve myself and maintain some sanity, but also because I have this commitment to these people in my life who love me and it's not fair to them. to make, them have to come in and try to bail me out of whatever big situation I've gotten myself into. So I don't know why, like that definitely felt like limitation and like freedom, but it didn't feel like punishment to make those changes. So I'm not sure like why it does with food.
Well, you're slowly progressing.
Yeah.
And this is what progress looks like. So you've been able to make some great strides in yourself and your own personal growth and your own transformation. And now you're at this place called, I have some sensitivity around feeling that I can be punished around food. And that punishment is coming from within. It's old voices.
Yeah.
And not only is it old voices from the people in your universe, it's voices all over the planet. You cannot be born on planet Earth, practically speaking, and not hear the punishing voices somehow, because it's delivered to us day and night since you were young. And I think a piece of what's feeding that sense of, oh, this feels like punishment if I manage my diet in a certain way, if I eat in a certain way, this feels like punishment. Part of it is there's this old remnant of self-punishment that I need to punish myself because fill in the blank, because this is what my body looks like, because this is what my body weighs. So I think underneath that is I deserve to be punished, because otherwise, if I wasn't being punished, I wouldn't look this way. I wouldn't weigh this amount. I wouldn't even be in this situation. So I am being punished somehow, punished by God, punished by the world, somehow punished by unseen forces.
Yeah.
So anything that reeks of punishment, that smells like punishment, is just going to push that punishment button. No, wait a second. I don't want to feel punished, because you're already doing that to yourself.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm the type of person that I'm really sensitive to criticism, even if it's constructive criticism, chances are I'm being very self-critical. Yeah. And because my self-criticism is so strong, the moment I think it's coming from the outside, I want to shoot it down.
Right.
Because it just doesn't feel good.
Right.
So part of it is starting to notice that core place in you where I somehow deserve to be punished. This body deserves to be punished. This body's not worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of, I think the healing that happened when I stopped controlling food, and started losing weight. It was like, there was this core fear that was like, if I get any bigger, everyone will leave me. I'll be alone, those really core things. And so as those were coming up, as my weight was coming on and getting more and more, it was like, it kind of feels like you love me now, you still love me, you're still here. And so, there's definitely a sense of some more security than I had before, which is like from like negative security. So now I have a little, but I like what you're saying about this is what, and I don't know if you said healing, but this is kind of what the journey looks like. It's slow progress. This is what progress looks like. And I've been having that feeling like, okay, I've been at this for 3 years and it has felt like, how long is this going to take?
Yes.
Like when am I going to even out and be able to be that adult in my life that says, oh, let's choose something healthy for lunch instead of that, or,
Great question. When is this going to get all better so I don't have to deal with this nonsense?
Right.
Yeah, somebody just give me the calendar, show me the date. Reasonable questions, because you and we want certainty. I want to know.
Right.
I don't want to be in this nonsense for very long.
Right.
So answer to the question is we don't know how long.
Right.
And it's the kind of question, as you know, that doesn't really further the action.
No.
And it keeps you in child's mind.
Yeah.
Like
Fearful.
when is punishment over?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there's a place where overall, a little bit beneath your awareness
Mhm.
or existence feels like a punishment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That I
But
know that isn't
yeah,
below the surface. I definitely know
yes,
that that's what I'm working with. And
yes,
when I think about it, like, I'm earning my security, right? I didn't learn it. I didn't get it, but I'm earning it. And I mean, it will come, I guess. Like that's where I'm feeling right now is like I've come a long way on this journey and I don't think I've really appreciated how far I've come and understanding like how long it took to get to each goal, sort of those posts along the way, it's like, okay, like this post is coming and it takes a long time.
it takes whatever time it needs. Yes. And part of the journey, part of the learning, if I'm always looking at our relationship with food, our relationship with our body is a great teacher.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to be learning those lessons. A lot of like, why do I have to learn this lesson? Why can't I learn that lesson? You know?
Or why am I still learning this lesson?
Yes, yes. And great questions, but they don't have clear answers. All we know is our relationship with food and body is a great teacher. So I'm always wanting to listen to, okay, what am I learning here? And there are certain things you have learned very quickly and learned very well. And there are certain things that it takes us more time for whatever reason. And part of, I think, your task is to take away the time frame, kind of like taking away the scale, take away the numbers, take away the measurement.
Yeah.
I know that's not easy, but you're going to feel more free
Right.
if there's no time constraint, because right now the time constraint is called when the heck is this going to be over?
Right.
And that feels unfree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right now, I think a really good affirmation to keep returning to is that, first of all, my life is not a punishment, my life is a blessing. Like, see if you can find positive words
Mhm.
to reverse that old belief,
Yeah.
and then start to look for evidence of how your life is a blessing,
Mhm.
how your body has been a blessing for you, how your journey in your body has been a blessing. Because right now, the child's mind in you looks for evidence that all this is a punishment.
Mhm.
See, I want to lose weight, but I got to punish myself. So this is a punishing existence.
Mhm. Yeah, a big part of my journey has been um, learning how to sit with my own discomfort. I could distract myself in mania, or I could, numb myself in depression, and then all of the compulsions and addictions that come along with those things. I've been just kind of like shedding them, over the course of time, just not that one. And then another one crops up and then I shed that one and not that one. And so it's like, feels like I'm always getting closer to the core. I think, there's a part like when I went to the doctor last year and they were like, your cholesterol's too high. And then I went to another doctor for like an annual exam and she's like, did your doctor talk to you about your cholesterol? It's really bad. It's like, okay, like there's this reality that I'm on this journey and the journey takes however long the journey takes. And right now this is where I'm at. And then there's this other, sort of reality that's like, and you're putting a lot of stress on your joints and your cholesterol's out of control. It's like, how do I stay on the journey, I guess, without maybe damaging myself, letting this stuff damage me in the process, if that makes sense?
Yes, yes. That's a powerful question. And I think a big piece of that is you're learning to harness your mind more
Mhm.
and not let it torture you and not let it punish you and not let outside voices have the power to turn into punishment voices.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is you will go to experts, and oftentimes experts can be very fear-based and they can be punishing, and they will treat a test and not a person. So you're a person.
Right.
You're not a test. You're not a cholesterol level.
Right.
And it's easy to let that scare us. It's easy to go, oh, okay, so this weight is putting all this pressure on my joints. Right now, what you can manage, what you can learn to manage is the pressure you put on yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
and the places where you don't allow yourself to be free.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, you can still have fun with your loved ones and you can still have fun with the younger ones and not be on a freaking zip line. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
see you guys, see you at the bottom. I'll have tea and cookies for waiting for us.
Yeah.
But I
And
don't
that's
know
what
that.
I've done, but I feel sad. Like I miss adventure. I miss feeling strong and empowered. I miss being in the mountains and being there by myself and,
Yes, so perfectly reasonable. So you can miss that
yeah.
and still have that not come under the headline of, and this is a punishment, and this is restricting my freedom.
Right.
I miss being 23 years old and having like unlimited energy and thinking I was going to live forever. I really miss that.
Yeah.
But I'm not letting that enslave me. I'm not letting that put handcuffs on me and making it feel like, therefore, I am unfree because I can't have this experience that I used to have. I miss it.
Yeah.
So both can be true. Yes, you can miss it. Yes, you can grieve for it. Yes, you can wish for it. And I'm still free.
And I'm still free. Yeah.
You're still free because you're still alive. You still have love in your life. Your weight has gone here and there, and nobody's left you.
Right.
Right? The people in your life still love you
Yeah.
and they care about you. So it's beginning to gather evidence that the worst case scenarios don't actually happen for you.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So good things happen.
Right.
And the body is always going to be a place of challenge and pain because welcome to the human race.
Mhm.
There are people who will gladly change places with you
Mhm.
relative to whatever ailments they're facing.
Yeah.
They would love to have your challenge. So I think a lot of what's happening for you is also sort of like your own ongoing spiritual reckoning.
Mhm.
Like, how do I make peace with the existence I've been given
Yeah.
and the journey that I've been given? Because there's the part of us that's going to want a different journey. I want a different journey. I want a different body.
Mm.
I want a different kind of punishment. Not this one.
I feel like I've done a lot of work around that. Like I'm really grateful, and I even like can see the benefits in, just the bad stuff that nobody should have to have, right? It's like, yeah, but if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't have this skill or gift or ability to be able to help someone else, So like there's a lot of me that feels pretty accepting of my journey up to this point, right? Something you said earlier though about blessings, I thought I don't think it, just for whatever reason it just popped into my head, like I've not necessarily considered it a blessing that I have the choice to eat healthy things, like that just hasn't really been a thing in my mind. But just hearing that today, it was like, oh, yeah, what a blessing to be able to have a choice to open the fridge and have food there that's healthy and good for me. And those moments when I'm like, open the fridge and I'm like, I don't want to eat any of that. And I close it and then I eat a cookie instead. It's like, it's not, I don't think I'm thinking about that food in the fridge as being a blessing.
Yes. And the opportunity and the knowledge and the wisdom that you have, it's a blessing. And you don't think about that because much of the time when you're making choices around food, it's the little girl in you who has her antenna up for, is this punishing or not? If it's punishing, I ain't doing it anymore. So the good news is, I love your strategy. I love the strategy that you adopted called, something, I'm not going to restrict myself anymore. I'm going to learn how to say yes.
Right.
I truly believe that was a wise choice because you needed the feeling called yes in your body.
Yeah.
This is what yes feels like, because I got all this noise in my head that's constantly going, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So that creates imbalance. So you needed to feel yes.
Mm-hmm.
A part of that yes is in response to the intense no.
Right. Like the pendulum swing, right?
Yes. So instead of this, no, you're a bad girl if you do this, yes, you can eat whatever you want.
Right.
Can you see the extremes there?
And my life has been about extreme, so it makes perfect sense.
Yes. So you are literally learning how to take the middle road. So when you drive the car, instead of swerving on the road, you can still get where you want to go if you're swerving, but man, you're taking a risk and it's not going to feel very safe.
No.
Instead, we just go straight down the road. So instead of, no, you can't have these things, or yes, I can eat whatever I want, the adult Adrian needs to step in.
Yeah.
The adult in you, the good mother in you, the queen in you, the royalty in you needs to step in and say, I'm going to make these choices.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do with punishment because you're the queen. You're the queen of your own queendom. Your
Right.
kingdom starts with your mind. Your queendom is your body. Your queendom is your household and all the people in your world. And you're the queen of that.
Yeah.
And there's nobody punishing you.
Right.
There's nobody punishing you except the old voice in your head,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm saying is a young voice. It's a little girl's voice.
Yeah.
And now instead of saying extreme no or extreme yes, it's going to be your job to start to find if you wish to lose weight.
Yeah.
My guess is that you have a lot of knowledge right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into, and here's a way to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
The best way for you to lose weight is going to be to do something that feels truly sustainable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a good way for me to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do intermittent fasting in such and such a way. I can eat these healthy foods, but you know something? I need to have a fun food once a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to have a really forbidden food once a week. Whatever it is, you finding out what works for you. So in your inner world,
Mm-hmm.
number one, you're satisfying the queen, the adult in you who wants to manage your body in a good way.
Yeah.
And that takes an adult to do that. The adult in you has to be home. The woman in you, the queen in you needs to be home. She needs to be making the choices.
Yeah.
She needs to notice, oh, as soon as you feel punished,
Mm-hmm.
I suggest you say to yourself, oh, that's the little girl in me.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Right.
That's so sweet. You're not being punished. This
Right.
is not a punishment.
The little girl wants another cookie. I understand. Yes. Let's have our dinner first.
Yes.
We'll see if you're still hungry. Yeah, it's so interesting to me. My my mom was like a child for me growing up. And in that sense, it was like she was not there, not there as a parent. And it, I felt insecure, just having this childlike mom. And I haven't really thought about how I show up in that same way for my kids. Like they are looking to me all the time. I mean, a little less, maybe some less now that they're out of the house, but still I think that contributes to a sense of insecurity for them when they see me acting like a child. And I don't even think I'm acting like a child, but they see it and they know what it is.
Yes. So chances are, if your mom was childlike in those ways, you're not going to feel secure. A child feels secure when there are two adults in the house, or when there's an adult in the house.
Who are kind and in charge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if there's no adults, then you're going to essentially, there's a part of you that's going to stay that child looking for the adult, looking for the security.
Yeah.
And we end up looking for security and love in all the wrong places. Well, if I have the right body, if I have the right shape, if I have whatever, then you're going to love me.
Yeah.
And then I'll finally feel secure. And in a way, your task is to now be a better mother for you than your mother was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been about a week and a half, I think, but I sent an email to my mom just recently, asking not to have any contact for a while. And that wasn't really like, I don't want you to hurt me anymore. It was the realization of what you're talking about. It was like, I'm in charge of this whole situation. I'm 46 years old. Like, I keep going to the same people. I keep going to my mom, expecting her to be able to give me what I didn't get all those years and all these years. And I realized, like, I keep trying to outsource that.
Yes.
Like, the source needs to be here. And as long as I keep feeling like there's a well to dip my bucket in, I'm going to keep reaching in, even though the well's dry.
Yes.
It was like, if I could maybe just get a break from that, I'll have a sense of like, this is where my well needs to be.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be you.
Yeah.
So you're learning how to be the mother to yourself today that you've needed.
Yeah.
And that mother shows up.
Yeah.
She helps you make good choices. She creates guidelines. She creates boundaries.
Right.
She's looking out for you. And there's no negative talk.
Right.
We're doing this because we love you. You're making certain choices because you love you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful place to be for you. It's I get that it's taken you a long time to get here.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hard
I'm
work.
so lucky to be here, though.
Yeah.
I could be 76 having this conversation, and I'm not. So I'm like, okay, like, this is good. We have time.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And the beauty is you have love in your life. And that's a place to feel secure.
Yeah.
Is to remind yourself, I have that.
Yeah.
I can rest in that. I can feel secure in that. Because you already have security. It's just sort of noticing it.
Yeah.
And then letting yourself feel it.
Yeah. 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 Letting myself feel it is a big piece. There are moments where I'm like, I can see it. It's like I cognitively know that it's happening, but I'm still like in the back of my mind, like, is this real? Like, is this actually happening? Like, pinch me. I think I'm dreaming. Maybe I haven't quite like settled into it. It feels like it's like a gift that's been given and it could get taken away at any minute. Yeah.
So I just want to come back for just one final pass around the topic of you and your weight.
Mhm.
To me, this is from my perspective, your goal is not to lose weight. Your goal is to start, is to be your best self,
Yeah.
is to be the best expression of you. The best expression of you is where you start to step into your adult, your queenhood. You feel secure. You understand that when you're taking care of yourself, that's not punishment. And as you do that, then having your natural weight becomes easier because you're not fighting against yourself.
Yeah.
You're not opening up the refrigerator and being in an argument in your own brain
Right.
and feeling like you're being punished if you have to eat a vegetable and you can't eat the sweet. So weight loss is going to come
Yeah.
as a side effect of you being your best self. And you're going to be able to follow whatever good guidelines you know, as you understand that I'm doing this for me out of love.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not punishing myself anymore. My life is not a punishment.
Yeah. It strikes me that like on, the spectrum of all the things that you can do to reinforce a sense of self-love, that feeding could be one of the hardest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it makes sense why this is a struggle.
Yes.
Yeah. And how incredibly pivotal it is.
It is. It's the fuel that helps empower you to be the best you.
Right.
It's the challenge that helps you grow into the best you.
Yeah.
It doesn't always feel like that.
Right. Yeah, this is so good. I something you said in another podcast I listened to was, about kind of somebody employing the like their rebellious self to do good things, not just rebel. And it really struck a chord, and there was a part of me that was just like, I'm not a rebellious teenager.
That's perfect.
On that.
Perfect.
But I was like, no, that's like picking at me. So that kind of feeds into what we're talking about too. I think it's like the child, that sort of the punishment, but also the rebellion, all of it kind of rolls into that same, like, it's time to step into being my adult self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Adrian, I think this has been a great conversation. I hope it's been helpful for you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Great work. I feel very confident you're going to get where you want to go, because you have been getting where you've wanted to go. Not as fast as you want. I understand that, but you're getting there, and you've been doing the work, and really congratulations on coming this far and the successes that you've had. And I hope you can really bask in that for yourself here and there. Just like, yeah, I've done some good work.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care, my friends.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care, and remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.